Hello and welcome back to Her Becoming. I am your host, Kayla Countryman. Thank you for being here with me today. Today we are getting into organization and planning, which as a Virgo moon, if you're into astrology, or if you just follow me on Instagram, you can probably see how type A I am when it comes to my business and sort of my life. But we're really going to get into planning your week, planning your days, planning your months, so that you are not just reacting to life on a day-by-day basis. My good friend Alexis, she is a mindset mentor. She's an overall just like badass, a product-based entrepreneur, a speaker. I'm gonna link her Instagram in the show notes, but I went to college with her and she has just always been like so incredibly wise. She's one of those people that you just want to learn from and surround yourself with. And one day she posted, I'm not going to say it verbatim, but essentially, if you don't create your day, then you're going to be reacting to it. And what does that mean, right? If you are not being intentional about what your days look like, what your weeks look like, then you fall into this trap of just reacting on an hour by hour, day by day basis. And of course, there's going to be things in life, many, many things that we cannot control. That is inevitable. But there are a lot of things that we can control. We can control our routines, we can control our habits, we can control our mindset around things, we can control how we react to things, and we can control how we spend most of our time. But when you're just waking up and sort of catapulting yourself into the world and like raw dogging your day every single day, you're just reacting to life at that point. You are not being intentional about what you want to accomplish, what you want to do, how you're spending your time. And that leaves us feeling really worn out, really like our cup is empty, probably irritable, stressed, anxious, all of that because you feel like you don't have control. And again, a lot is out of our control, but a lot is in it. And so I want to talk about why creating your day, creating your week, even creating your month is important. And the biggest thing is reducing unnecessary stress and anxiety. Like I said, if you're just reacting on a day by day basis, that stress and that anxiety is going to skyrocket. If you are someone that experiences Sunday scaries, a great way to take a hold of those Sunday scaries is to have a plan, is to understand what your entire week looks like, what are your priorities, what are your workouts, what are your meals, who are you spending time with. When you have an idea of what's coming, even if there's some uncontrollables, you are going to feel more at peace with what's to come. And making a plan also helps us make time for the things that we actually want to do. When we're just in this reaction mode, we're probably saying yes to too many things. We're not really thinking through, using our discernment to understand what's helping us get towards our goals. And so today's episode is really dedicated to giving you a step-by-step plan of how to put this into practice. I'm recording this on a Sunday, and every Sunday I pull out my physical planner and I sit at my dining room table and I plan out the week ahead. If it's a new month, I plan out the whole month ahead. And it really just helps me bring all of the mental chatter, all of the ideas, all of the tasks that live in my head or live in my phone and put them pen to paper. And when I tell you guys, every time I do this, it feels like a sense of calm just falls over me. Because a lot of times it's the anticipation that's causing anxiety. It's not actually the things that you have to do, it's the anticipation of the things that you have to do. You ever notice how you have this one task that you have on your list and you put it off, you procrastinate, it's driving you crazy, and then you actually do it and you're like, wow, that wasn't even that bad. I should have just done it 4 days ago. That applies to pretty much everything that we do in our lives. And so having a process for planning out and mapping out your week really helps get ahead of that. It helps you understand, okay, here are the things I need to do. I don't need to anticipate when this thing or when this task is going to get done because now I have a physical spot for it and I can visualize it right here. So let's get into the step-by-step of how you, my friend, can make this happen. So the first thing that I want you to do, if you are truly committed to creating your reality instead of just reacting to life, I want you to have a dedicated physical planner. Your phone doesn't count. If you have a separate iPad or something that serves as your planner, we'll allow that. But I really encourage you to have a physical planner. Why is physical important over your phone or just a mental checklist, which, oh my gosh, I could never just rely on a mental checklist? The reason the physical planner is important is because you can actually see your week. And when you can see what's coming in your week, like your eyes are looking at the words. That's what I mean by see it on the paper, not on your screen, on the paper. You are able to visualize. And what we know about visualization when it comes to prayer and manifestation, it expedites results. So if you have a goal that you want to achieve, if you want to run a marathon and you see yourself writing down, go to run club or run 5 miles or train for next event in your planner week after week after week, that visualization and that action of putting pen to paper is going to expedite the results and help create the habit. It also forces you to intentionally think about and address every single thing that you write down. When we're relying on our phone or just relying on a mental checklist, we're not moving intentionally through the things that we're just stacking up in our brain. We're like, oh yeah, that sounds good. That'll do. That'll work. Put it in my phone, add it to my calendar, scroll, 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 beep, beep, beep. We're so used to that environment of a phone. Having to write something down, dinner with this person or work event at 7 p.m. It makes you address every single thing that you are putting down, which makes it more likely that it will happen. And it also helps you sort through what you want to do versus what you don't want to do. Helps you understand what is actually helping me reach my goals and what is possibly hindering me, or where am I overextending myself. If I write down work dinner at 6 p.m. and I get a full body reaction of like, I don't even want to go, is that something I can skip? Is that something I can choose an alternative for? And so this is why, to me, pen to paper is so important because of the intention. Our phones carry so much stimulation. You add something to your calendar, you go over to Instagram, you're scrolling, you pop over to TikTok, you're scrolling. Oh, wait, let me go back to the calendar invite. Did I accept this? Is it at 6? Is it at 5? It's overwhelming. And so having an intentional space to map out your week is really, really important, as all of us are addicted to our phones. Even if you think you aren't, you probably are. And this separates that in our minds and again, just brings some calm into our week. It also helps us make it a self-care practice. Again, we're all addicted to our phones. So when you have a physical planner, it forces you to step away. Step away from social media, step away from the calendar, step away from text messages, and just dive into your own reality. Dive into the life that you are creating for yourself. And you can even make it fun. I use markers, I have stickers, I color code things. You can leave notes for yourself. You can tape in little things. Like, you can really have fun with it when you have a physical planner, and it can even bring out some of that inner child joy. So if you are someone that relies on your phone calendar or just a mental checklist, I hope that that convinces you alone that it is time to explore a physical planner. I love the one that I have right now. It's just off of Amazon. It was super inexpensive. You can get a fancy one if you want, but mine works just fine. It has a lot of space, keeps me organized. I honestly love it. I would buy it again. So I will link that for you in the show notes. Okay, so once you have your physical planner, then what you do is you dedicate time each week to fill it in. Like I said, I do mine on Sundays, and you make it a date with yourself. Put some music on, make a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, and make it feel like a special ritual. Sometimes I even like to sit down in front of my planner and meditate first, or listen to some soft music, take some deep breaths, and just ground into the week. Ground into the possibilities, the blessings, whatever is coming that week. Just being intentional about opening myself up to it. Again, we're working on creating our week instead of just reacting to every single day. Part of that is getting grounded, understanding and maybe even visualizing, what do I want this week to look like? What do I want this week to bring? And so when you have that dedicated time, it really makes it that self-care practice, something that you come back to week after week and it becomes part of your routine. So you have the physical planner, you dedicate time each week to fill it out, you open the planner each week. And the first thing that I like to do once I'm sitting there, I'm grounded, I'm ready, I like to check in with my goals. I like to just at least think through, okay, what am I working towards? What do I want to do with the podcast, with my business, with coaching? Like, what am I feeling lit up by right now? And that's really where I start because I want my week to reflect the life that I want to have. I want my week to reflect the dreams that I'm bringing into my reality. And so that means when I set my priorities, the planner that I use has a space for 3 priorities at the top of the week. When I set my priorities, I'm setting them based on where do I want to give my energy this week in order to reach my goals. It also helps you identify what are some maybe smaller tasks that I'm not thinking of that would support me reaching those goals or knocking out those priorities. And when you check in with your goals, it's also helping you identify time for the things that are most important for you. If I know that I have a goal to grow my YouTube channel, then I'm going to include tasks around YouTube content and understanding SEO and understanding how to grow there. And by doing that, I'm identifying the things that are important for me to do that week. Okay, once you are in tune with your goals and you understand what you want to accomplish, this is maybe a little bit controversial, but I like to encourage you, once you have a clear vision of your goals and your top priorities, I encourage you to schedule your wellness first. What do I mean by that? I mean, before you go thinking through your work meetings and your work calendar and how much work you have to get done this week, because that's where all of our brains go, I encourage you to schedule your workouts. I encourage you to map out the social outings that you feel excited about. Notice how I say that you feel excited about, not the things that you have to do, things that you want to do. Maybe your meals, what are you cooking? What time are you spending building your business or building a brand or being creative, making art? That also includes rest. When are you resting? I hope you're resting every single day, of course, but sometimes it helps to, if you're someone like me, I have a 9 to 5, that usually means I'm working throughout the day on my corporate job, and then at night, I am working on my business. But I like to give myself at least 1, sometimes 2 nights per week where I do not work on my business. I just rest. I catch up on my shows, I put my feet up, and I relax. And that is intentionally scheduled every single week in my planner. When you schedule your wellness first, you are making sure that you don't drop the ball on feeling good. Because here's what happens, and this is especially true for us high achieving women that just want to do a good job in everything that we do. Work is always going to get done, right? So if we prioritize our work, and this can even apply to you if you're a business owner and you run your business full time, if you just prioritize only those tasks first, the first things that are going to fall off when you get tired, when you get overwhelmed, is your wellness. You're going to prioritize everything else before you take care of yourself because you haven't set aside the intentional time to take care of yourself. So when I say schedule your wellness first, it's put in your non-negotiables. Put in the things that you have to do that week to feel better, to feel like your authentic self, to feel good in your body. If you're like me, we're not going to drop the ball on our jobs. We're not going to drop the ball on showing up in our careers. That's going to happen. So I'm more concerned with making sure that I have space for my workouts, for meal prepping for myself, for my meditations, which I do daily, so I don't need to plan that. But if you're new to meditation, maybe you do need to plan that, right? I'm more interested in having all of that reflected in my planner because I know work is going to get done. I actually don't even bother putting stuff about my corporate job in my planner because to me, my planner is like my sacred creativity and wellness hub. It is not for them. It is for me. And so I'm scheduling the things that I truly believe are going to help me create the reality that I want, knowing I'm going to do a good job at work. I don't need to put work and work and work at the top of my priority list in my planner. So I hope that helps you understand that taking care of yourself is productive. Working out, eating well, cooking your meals at home, resting, the downtime, all of that is productive. And when you schedule it, you can also kind of see like, how much time am I spending in this? Am I giving myself intentional, like hours and hours and hours to rest? Or am I just going to sleep, waking up, and considering that like a done deal? Sleep is important, don't get me wrong, but so is rest throughout the day. Meditating, napping every once in a while, and just giving yourself those breaks. Okay, So after you schedule your wellness first and you have your priorities and your goals in there, then you can kind of use your phone as a guide to fill in your month and your week. And I know I said no phones, but this is the step that your phone does come in because most of us add stuff to our phone calendar first, right? It's where our appointments are, dinners, things that we may forget about off the top of our head are in our phone. So this is the point where I bring my phone out and I just transfer over things from my phone into the monthly calendar and into the week. I like to use a color coding system. I have different colors for different areas of life. So there's a self-care color, there's a corporate color if I dare add something there, there's a business color, there's a social outings color. And when you're using a color coding system, not only is it so fun if you're an organization freak like I am, but it also allows you to see where and how you're spending most of your time and then adjust accordingly. So if you notice that you have like no social time in your calendar, all right, maybe you need to get in community more. If you're noticing that you have no self-care, all right, maybe you need to block off a Sunday evening and get into self-care. You can also notice if you think something is missing or if there are things that you don't actually want to be part of your week. Because again, when we're reacting to our days, we're going to say yes, we're going to go with the flow. It's just going to be day after day after day. It's giving Groundhog's Day, right? But when you create your week, you have the power to say, I want to do this. I don't want to do this. I'm going to spend 4 hours here. I'm going to do 2 hours here. And it's not a perfect system. My goal with sharing this with you is not to put up specific guardrails around exactly where you spend every minute of your day. It's not going to happen. My week, as a matter of fact, rarely ever, never actually, perfectly reflects what I put in my planner. And that's because life is life. There's always going to be uncontrollables. There's always going to be things that come up or that you don't feel like doing or things that pop up last minute. That is life. So I'm not saying this is a perfect system of scheduling your life by the second. I am saying this is going to help you be more intentional about how you spend your time, and it's going to help you reach your goals faster because you're creating your reality, not reacting to it, okay? And then the last thing that you do when you are planning out your week is you leave your planner open. This is something I actually just started doing this year because previously I'd map everything out and then like close it and put it on my desk or put it in my backpack and it would just be gone. What I do now is I map out my week and I leave my planner open on my dining room table. That way it is there for me to see every single day. I can flip back to the monthly calendar, look at what's going on, flip back to the week, check in with my tasks, check in. I like to physically check things off as I do them. And it becomes just a little daily check in for myself to make sure that I am keeping top of mind the things that I actually want to do. This is actually one of my favorite things to talk about. I am such a nerd about organization, about planning. It's also one of my favorite things to support women with. I do not play about my routines, about my habits, about my processes for helping myself create the life that I want. I take full ownership, full responsibility for the future that I'm creating for myself. And that goes to every aspect of my life. So if you are someone that could use some support in this realm with your habits, your routines, and even just something as simple as learning how to really be intentional about planning out your weeks and your months and your time, I would invite you to book a visionary session with me. Visionary sessions are 90-minute one-on-one coaching sessions, so just you and we can dive deep into any area of your life that you're feeling you need a little bit extra support with when it comes to creating the reality that you want to live. So we can dive into your routines. We can dive into what your habits look like. We can create a starter business plan. We can explore your creative passions, and I can help you understand where to begin for truly adding more fulfillment and more purpose into your life. If that's something that you're interested in, if you enjoyed this episode and want to operate in more of a way where you are creating your life instead of just reacting to what's served up for you or what's given to you, I invite you to book a visionary session with me. So the link is in the show notes. I would be honored to support you. If you have questions, you can always DM me. My schedule is open and up to date. But if you don't see a time that works for you, do not count yourself out. Just shoot me a DM and I'm happy to find a custom time for you. All right, that is all for today. The takeaway from today is to start creating your days instead of reacting to them. I will see you on the next episode, and until then, be well.